So we are here getting ready to play a special campaign with a twist of Brindlewood Bay. All right, by Jason Cordova. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to be pretty much trying to stick to the session 1 that is written in the book. So if you manage to get in on the Kickstarter, or you're getting this after the crowdfunding, then welcome, and just enjoy playing this game, because this is a wonderful system and we've played it before and I really, really enjoy it. Okay, so we've gathered participants, we've gathered our play materials, and we are going to sort of read the text. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do some player and keeper introductions. So we're going to have everybody state their name, their pronouns, and anything else that the group might find interesting about them. I'll start because I'm keeping this game. So I'm Mads, she, they, and I really love the carved from Brindlewood system. I love the way the mystery mechanic works, and I've enjoyed this starting with the between, but it's like, coming back to Brindlewood Bay. I mean, I love my little old ladies, like, getting into some messes. So, all right, let's popcorn it over to Luna.
Hi, my name's Luna. I've been playing games like this for, oh my gosh, 2 years now? Or are we still at just 1 year? I don't know.
No, I think we're at least 2, if not
You think
almost
so?
3.
Rachel got me into it. It's her fault. I
take
she,
that blame.
her, yeah. And I did get in on the Kickstarter for this game. So I've been an excited fan since day one, since Rachel put it into our little group chat. And then I forgot that she put it there. And then a week later, I was like, oh my God, have you seen this? And she was like, yeah, I'm the one who told you about it. So that's me. Popcorn over to Kathleen.
I'm Kathleen, she, her. And I have been gaming for a very long time, and specifically doing Carved from Brindlewood much more recently. But I really, really like Brindlewood Bay, and like Mads, I'm a big fan of little old ladies getting into stuff, so I'm really looking forward to this game. And Rachel, I believe that means it's you.
Yep. So I'm Rachael, and she, her, my pronouns. I have been playing tabletop games since about 2005, and I've only recently been playing stuff other than the big one since probably about 2000. What year are we in? Geez, 23 now. So 2019-ish, maybe, I started branching out. I am one of the Kickstarter people as well for Brindlewood Bay, so I'm excited to get to play in something, because I do, in my main group, also carry the Almost Forever GM title. So it's nice to get to branch out and try games as a player. I am definitely excited about playing this too, because some of the mechanics I've seen in some of the little test games we've run, like the painting the scene, I love it. So I'm super hyped.
Oh, I love to hear that. Hyping it up.
All
right. Okay, so we're going to get to the section called CATS, and CATS is an acronym for a concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. This sets up the expectations for the game, how it's going to proceed, and it's a low stakes way for me as the keeper to get accustomed to being in the spotlight. I do run some games myself, and I have played a lot of Carved from Brindlewood games, so I'm a ham. It's great. It's wonderful. So I'm just gonna read this loud from the book. Okay. So CATS, again, stands for concept, aim, tone, and subject matter. It's to establish some basic expectations for what the game is about and what we're going to be doing during this first session. Okay. So concept. Brindlewood Bay is a role-playing game about a group of elderly women, members of the local Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club, who frequently find themselves investigating and solving actual murder mysteries. They become increasingly aware that there are supernatural forces that connect the cases they're working on, and in particular, a cult dedicated to the dark, monstrous aspect of the goddess Persephone will come to vex them. The game is directly inspired by the television show Murder, She Wrote, but also takes inspiration from the cosmic horror genre, mystery books, cozy crime dramas, and American TV shows from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. The aim of the characters in the story is to keep their community safe by investigating the murders taking place there. Our aim as players is to learn more about these characters, as well as to paint a vivid picture of the town of Brindlewood Bay, a responsibility we all share. The aims for today's session are to create and introduce our characters, learn the basics of how the game works by playing it, and then have a debrief period at the end. Tone of this game bounces between the cozy and the creepy. Most of the time it will be fairly lighthearted, but occasionally it will get very dark and menacing. Some kitschy, campy humor is permissible here, and very much in keeping with some of the game's inspirations. But above all, your characters should take everything they do very seriously, even if we're having a bit of a laugh from time to time. Subject matter: murder of all varieties, threats to animals and children, ritual magic, human sacrifice, and other dark subject matter may come up in this game from time to time. We'll talk about safety tools in a moment, but in the interest of getting some expectations on the table right now, you should know that while the game is generally lighthearted, some intense subject matter can come up. And then bringing that up, again, safety tools. We have safety tools that our group and other groups that we've played with have been comfortable with. We use the open door policy, the X card, and lines and veils. Let's see. So with X card, that is making an X in the video or an X in the chat, or just calling out X, like, if something is distinctly unfun, uncomfortable, and we just want to stop play, clarify what needs to be X carded, removed from play, and then move on from there. We will again clarify what needs to be X carded, but then not ask why. Okay. Open door policy. At any time, if you need to go, just let us know. If you're coming back after the scene, or if you have to leave the rest of the game, that's fine. I mean, just go ahead and take the open door. You don't have to give an explanation why. Okay. And then lines and veils. In our character keeper, where we have information about our characters, there is a safety tab, and this contains not only information about what our players feel comfortable with, and especially for like any romance included with the piece, like, with each other or with the NPCs. I mean, like, each player's comfort level, but it has lines and veils. Lines are things that will not be used in the game at all, will not be role played, will not be mentioned. We just want to keep them again out of our game. And then veils are things that we're okay with being in the game, but we prefer not to role play them, or we just simply want to keep them off screen. So we'll just kind of fade to black on them. Okay. So let's see. And then we have the lines and veils listed for this game, or for this table. So lines, in interest of transparency, lines are harm to children, homophobia, transphobia, pandemic plague, sexual assault, sexual violence, and dementia. Okay. Veils, eye injuries, harm to pet and domestic animals. And I think that's it. Okay. And then, another line is racism, of course. And then interest, mind control, and romance. Okay, great. And at any time during the campaign, anytime during the game, you are totally free to go ahead and add to this list. Okay. To, like if something comes up and it's like, oh, we forgot to mention that, please go ahead and put it in the list, call my attention to it, and then we'll just go over it and make sure that, again, we're not crossing any lines or veils. Okay. Okay. So the players have already done some, like, most of the character creation, which is great. As I mentioned sort of in the beginning, I'm taking this campaign in a little bit of a tiny different direction. Okay. So I will you know what? I'm going to make that a little surprise. I think when we find out about these characters in the introductions, I think we'll figure out pretty quickly what the twist is. Okay. All right. So for character creation, for anybody that hasn't done it before, excuse me, the character keeper has it. The character sheets in the book have it. Basically, you'd pick a name, you'd pick a style, a cozy activity where no two mavens can have the same cozy activity. And then you would assign, 1 point to one of the abilities. And then note the final ability modifiers. Okay. And then there is a maven move that each maven would pick from the maven moves sheet. Okay. All right. So we're going to introduce the characters. All right. We're going to go around the table. And everyone, please introduce your murder maven by name, by style, cozy activity, and maven move. Okay. That's all we need for just this part. Okay. So let's go ahead and start with Kathleen.
Okay, I'm playing Pearl Olsen. Her style is all the cardigans. I have a cardigan right here, but it's a little warm actually. Cozy activity is baking. And my maven move is Remington Steel. You're very talented at passing yourself off as someone you are not. If there's a piece of identification or disguise that would help you with your ruse, you have it. Say what it is and add it to your cozy little place.
I am playing Marcell Mazi Lombardo. I am Alexis Carrington Colby as my style, so dressed, rather nicely all the time. My cozy activity is scrapbooking, and my move is Michael Knight. You have a trusty mode of transportation, an oversized sedan, a motorbike, or an old truck that has gotten you out of more than one sticky situation. Give it a name and add it to your cozy little place. When you use it to get an advantage on a die roll, leave it unmarked.
And last but not least, can we be introduced to Cynthia?
Yep, I'm playing Hyacinth, Cynthia Swift. Her style is Dorothy Zabornak, whose last name I can't pronounce very well. So oversized jackets and comfortableness. My cozy activity is knitting. And my maven move is Gordon Shumway. You have a feline friend with whom you share a very strong bond. This extraordinary kitty can do tricks and follow simple commands. Name your precious puss, Caviar, and add them to your cozy little place. When you use the cat to get an advantage on a roll, leave it unmarked.
Nice. Okay. All right. So maybe it's like not quite so obvious, but let's just say that our mavens have a bit of history. Okay. So let's go ahead and go around again and then have each of you describe 3 key aspects of the maven's backstory: the deceased partner, their children, if any, or pets, if that's what they have, and their career before they retired to Brindlewood Bay. So let's go ahead and start with Mazi. Okay, we'll go backwards from the character keeper. Okay.
All right. So my deceased partner was more of a partner in shenanigans. I knew her pretty much from a young age, around 3rd grade, I think I put. Double checking my notes. I didn't even put a grade. It
Third
looks
grade.
like
Nope, third grade.
Nope, starts first line. Yeah, so we met early on and we were friends, all up through high school, early college. Always getting into trouble of various sorts that kids often do, and then later young adults often do. And it wasn't really until she met her eventual husband, Barry, that things got a little bit more dark, risky. Bigger rewards though, so we wound up pulling off some cons and some heists and such together as a crew, and eventually she moved on, tried to settle down with Barry. Later in life she remarried another gentleman, and he was much better for her, and I went back to visit as they had settled down, but I had not, as she was later in life, and had fallen ill. So we spent the last bit of time, I kind of reconnected with her and met with her two daughters, who kind of became my sort of adopted family and children. Which leads me to my children. They're not mine. They're Jordan's daughters. But I think of them as close to my own as I will ever have. So I don't see them very often, but I, occasionally send them a card, give them a phone call. They occasionally send something my way, a couple times a year sort of thing, on very good terms with them. So before retiring to Brindlewood, I traveled around a lot. Usually I would help run some cons for folks, usually kind of in the vein of Robin Hood, steal from the rich, keep for ourselves though, because the rich don't need it. Kind of kept enough to just keep going for a while, finally landed a couple bigger jobs to put away. And then one of my final heists, I got Jojo, my car, named after Jordan and my little Jojo. So she takes me around everywhere. She is a Maserati because I love Maseratis, and that's where my nickname Mazi comes from.
You must look so incredible going down the streets of Brindlewood Bay.
Yes.
Holy crap. I love it. Okay. So for this part of the character introduction, we do what's known as the cozy little place. So each of the Mavens, once we find out about their backstory a little bit, each of us, including myself, will name something that we think is in Mazi's cozy little place. And it can be something that doesn't have to be portable. It could be something in your actual home that you can recall. Mechanically, what this does is it gives advantage to a roll. So instead of rolling just the 2d6 mechanic plus a modifier, you would roll 3d6 and pick the two highest. Okay. If you happen to have a condition that kind of puts you at disadvantage, then the advantage will cancel it out automatically. Okay. If you use the item. Once it's checked off, though, then you cannot use it again until you get an advancement that says you can unmark these items, unless your Maven move determines that a particular item that you use can be left unmarked. Okay. So then you can keep using it for advantage as normal. All right. So what do each of us think is in Mazi's cozy little place?
I have an idea.
Okay.
One of those dashboard ladies with the ukulele who dances.
Yes.
That's
Dashboard ornament?
Dashboard? I'll look it up.
Decoration?
One of those.
And
the dancer.
Yeah, and you and the player that's getting the items can have revision or veto power on the particular thing.
No,
right?
I'm on board with this.
Okay.
I'm gonna put hula dancer dashboard. What did we call it? Dashboard
Ornament?
decor.
Or decoration, ornament, whatever.
Yeah. Dashboard ornament. Yeah.
There we go. All right. Do I pick one for myself as well?
I don't think you do. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if I did or not, because I have a couple ideas, but
let me see. Hold on a second. I mean, like, not officially. Let me see. Yeah, the only thing that you would have automatically because of your Maven move would be the trusty vehicle for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Two questions.
Mhm.
One, did Jordan's kids know what you guys had gotten up to in your past?
We alluded to it, especially when they were younger. We never outright said what we did. And some of the more questionable things we definitely omitted. So anything where somebody might have gotten hurt or anything, either intentionally or on accident, we probably glossed over that to an extent, for privacy. And they can what's the thing in court?
Deniability.
Yes, deniability.
Plausible deniability.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Got
not
it.
so much for incriminating us, but not incriminating them.
Okay. And then my second question is, you got the Maserati as one of your last jobs, or like the reward, I guess, for one of your last jobs. What did you use when you were, I'm going to assume, a getaway driver?
I was a getaway driver. It would depend on the crew I was working with. Usually I would depend on them providing a vehicle of sorts.
Oh,
But I would assume for a while I probably tooled around in like your standard, kind of like a van of some sort. Maybe one that looked almost like a Spectrum or internet style van that could be, slapped a magnet on the side, like internet provider doing work, or something that could kind of fit in without being too much noticeable.
do you want something sentimental or do you want something practical?
Let's go sentimental.
Okay. So what you have is one of the particular vehicles that you drove the most. I mean, like, you can call it a panel van, you could call it like, one of those like SUVs or something like that. Whatever you pick, whichever it is, you have an actual picture of it. Like you just took a picture of the thing and then you have it like scrolled away in a corner that nobody else sees, but you go back to that corner every so often and you'll look at that vehicle and go, yeah, that was me at
At the peak.
at the peak. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So
what am I
you can mention whatever type of vehicle like you think that it would be most likely to be. Yeah. And it's in a nice frame too.
I'm actually thinking, can I tweak on that?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So I'm thinking, yeah, it's in a nice frame. It's a picture, but it's not just a picture of the vehicle. It's actually got me and Jordan like posing on the hood. So it's definitely like, this is our car. But instead of it being like a really nice car, it's like it's a station wagon. It's got the rust down the side. We basically, it's barely running, but
That's
we
hilarious.
were proud of it.
Well, it probably got you through so many different things, which is why it probably looks so damn beat up. So absolutely. I mean, like, this is something sentimental. It's meaningful for you.
I've thought of something.
All right.
So scrapbooking is your thing.
Mhm.
Inevitably, that means you have a lot of scrapbooking tools of one sort or another. Jordan's Girls made a scrapbooking station for you. It's a little wooden thing with lots of separate compartments and such for sticking all your tools in, and they decorated it for you. Depending on how old they were when they decorated it, you can decide how neatly it was done. But there's also a touch which shows just how much their mother's daughters they are. There's a secret drawer.
Ooh.
And you have used this secret drawer to stash some emergency cash, maybe a spare set of ID, something like that, for if things really hit the fan, you gotta roll fast.
All right. So sweet scrapbooking station with getaway funds.
I don't think the girls knew that.
They didn't know that's what you would use it for.
Well, no, but not even. I mean,
see.
like maybe they're good at like, maybe their mother encouraged them to do like puzzles, and one of the things was to be able to hide stuff. And it's like she was training them, but they didn't realize that she was training them.
Yes,
I like it.
We like it.
Very cool. All righty.
Perfect.
Yep. All right. Great. So now let's look at Cynthia, right? You want to like, is it because you just don't like Hyacinth? Is that why? Oh, you're on mute.
I like the alliteration of Cynthia Swift, but I don't mind if my friends call me Hi instead of Cynthia.
Nice.
So let me pull up my. It's in here somewhere. All right. So Cynthia, I was married to a man named Lyman Swift, and in the end, it turned out that he had very little to offer except for cold hard cash. During our time together, we rubbed elbows with Europe's B-list royalty and A-list celebrities. We attended elegant parties and returned home with our pockets heavy. In the end, though, Lyman wasn't clever enough, and he got picked up by the feds and turned on me in order to try and save his own neck. We did have one child together. She grew up and pursued a more respectable lifestyle and has very little to do with me. We do keep in touch through postcards on the regular, but most of my love is lavished upon my beautiful feline Caviar. Before retiring to Brindlewood Bay, after Lyman turned me over, I made a settlement and decided to settle down for a quiet life of consulting in the city, helping them bring in other criminals. And in an attempt to avoid prison time, I would help them kind of get into the mind of other people who they were interested in talking to. Nobody knows my name anymore, including the FBI and the KGB, but I've still got what it takes. I have enough left over from my heyday in offshore accounts and the little pension I get for consulting to live a comfortable and, although all too quiet, lifestyle. Caviar and I eat out most nights, as neither one of us ever learned how to cook. I did take up knitting at Caviar's behest, but I'm much better at it than he is.
Lovely. All right. So, okay. So I just want to clarify again because it's like, is Cynthia your new name maybe? Or is it like, is Hyacinth Cynthia like both? No.
Hyacinth was my party name. Cynthia's my more respectable name, and I'm still Hi to my friends.
I have an idea for the cozy thing.
Okay.
The cozy thing.
The cozy thing. The cozy little house thing.
Yep.
Your cozy thing. So Caviar. You lavish Caviar with everything, but the one constant is Caviar wears a it looks to be a nice collar. It's not super like bejeweled or anything like that to not call any extra attention to it. It has, just a standard little charm on it. But once it's removed, there is like an inner lining that has a few like almost like jewels and things like you keep squirreled away.
Secret cat stash.
Yes, your secret cat stash.
In keeping
Awesome.
with that, I think that
Ooh.
Cynthia has like in those don't know if this is the right word, but capacious like cardigan type like cocoon sweater things that she wears. I think what she has is pockets. A guy or gal, whichever, that does specialty cocoon cardigan
Nice.
sweaters for you. And they have like secret pockets in them. Keep all sorts of stuff.
I don't know if the words "great minds think alike" or whatever, but Rachael, you and I were on exactly the same wavelength. I was gonna do a collar.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No need to apologize. I just think it's hilarious that we went in the same direction. You keep kind of not exactly a little black book, but you still have a few contacts from your party days.
Yes.
And there are people you can call maybe for a favor or maybe just to make you look really good by them admitting that they know you or whatever. Generally, it's people who never found out who you were. They didn't pay attention to news. That's boring stuff.
Yes, I love it.
So yeah, you have some pretty glitzy names and phone numbers stashed away.
You
Yes.
can totally name drop.
And last but not least, Pearl.
Well, my late husband Bob, we met when I was 17. I was working in a diner. It was in small town Iowa. It was pretty dreary circumstances and pretty dreary prospects. I wasn't poor. My family was, financially stable, but I wanted something more interesting in life. And this guy from out of town shows up and we start chatting as I pour his coffee, and wow, he really swept me off my feet. And I learned, charming people was what he did. But I liked what he had to say. And I went with him, and he taught me to be a grifter. We worked together, and we loved each other. It wasn't a perfect marriage, we both stepped outside now and then, but we always came back to each other. And we worked all over the country. It's a bad idea to settle in one place too much when you do what we do. Running long cons, occasional short games just to get working capital and keep our hands in. And we stashed cash here, there, and yonder all over, and we talked about settling down one day. Then he had a heart attack, and I lost him. So the place we'd picked to settle down was this little New England town of Brindlewood Bay, because we'd passed through there once, and we just thought it was so pretty and so quaint and seemed so quiet and low key. So that's where I came. We never had kids, but we did sort of adopt a daughter. Jessica was working as a mentalist's assistant doing a magic act in Reno, and we saw the act and we thought, this guy is not that great. But the assistant, she's feeding him everything and doing it really smoothly. So we met up with her after the show and got to talking, and she wound up traveling with us for a while. We did 3-person cons and that sort of thing. It wasn't perfect. She was a lot more impulsive and greedy, and she said that we were too cautious, and so there was some friction, but she learned a lot from us, and maybe we learned something from her too. And we parted ways eventually. And it's really hard to stay in touch when you're changing towns and names and everything on a regular basis. But I hope she's doing well. Haven't heard from her in a while, but we may cross paths again. And the other thing to know about me is that I love to cook. I love to cook for other people. Cooking just for myself is a bit dull. But I love to feed people. I feed my friends. I used to feed my marks. I was really good at figuring out, you look like a plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies is just going to get you to open up. But the one thing I loathe is doing dishes. Anybody can get on my good side by offering to do the dishes. So that's Pearl.
You do realize there's dishwashers around, right? Like
Yeah.
dishwashing machine.
Even dealing with the dishwasher is just like
She just wants to make the mess. She doesn't want to pick up the mess.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
absolutely.
Do you have somebody come in to do your house?
No, I mean, itchy about people in my space that I don't personally, you know, I'm very selective about people in my space.
Sure.
So I do my dishes, I just hate it and I grumble all the time.
She complains the whole time.
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. So what is in Pearl's cozy little place?
I got an idea.
Okay.
Okay, so you met Jessica in Reno. You like some of the way she was working and the way she helped, like, kind of, you said, like, feed the magician kind of like what he needed. She was young, she was like hip at the time. You guys kind of kept things more low key, low technology and everything. She introduced you to like wireless headsets. So you have this old wireless headset. It may or may not work regularly. It's a little bit old, maybe a little bit outdated, but you keep it because it's been used and been very handy in the past.
I like it. I like it.
So, yeah. She introduced you to the world of communications. No. You had your sweet Nokia, she brought you a razor.
I love it. I think for all your years that you've been grifting, I think, well, between you and Bob, you figured out the very basics that you need to be able to pull off a decent disguise. I mean, regardless of props and what have you, but I think you've put together a kit. And again, it's like, your move automatically gives you the whole identification or disguise. It helps you with your ruse. But I think you have a particular bag. I mean, it may be like, like one of those little ditty bags, or maybe it may be something that is a favorite purse, whichever. But I mean, like, you have it. It's got sentimental value. It's got practicality because it's got like all the pockets that you need, just enough, not too much or whatever. And it's not weighty. So it is a perfect thing that you have with you, or as these are to the glory days, and I will not get rid of it because of it.
I like it.
I'm going to say that in your cozy little place, you have one of the paper takeout menus from the diner that you worked at where you met your husband, and written inside the paper menu is the address of a P.O. box from your hometown where you can send things, and maybe somebody knows to check it every once in a while.
I like it.
And that is our characters so far. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. Okay. But before we do, I want you three to consider something very important. Considering your backgrounds, do you think that you came across each other or knew each other before you came to Brindlewood Bay in your own way? Do you think that you've worked together before or just known each other in some capacity in your old life before retiring to Brindlewood? Okay. All right. And we are back. All right. So, beginning of the session, excuse me, we are going to look at the character keeper, and then there are the Maven stats that they have, and then there are end of session questions, and these are questions that throughout play for the particular mystery, the Mavens will be trying to see if they can answer, because at the end of the session, then we will see if they have answered the question, and then they will be able to get XP for it. And the XP, of course, like builds up to getting advancements towards like more ability modifiers, maybe another Maven move, and then so on and so forth. So go ahead and take a look at your end of session questions. The first one is always the same. Did the murder Maven solve a mystery? And then the last two are the ones that they get to pick from a drop-down box. Okay. And then once you have picked out your question that you will end up trying to role play, we will take a look at what's known as cozy vignettes. Each player will narrate a short vignette showing their Maven enjoying her life in Brindlewood Bay. These scenes should be light and breezy and warm and cozy. They should show the Maven enjoying her hobbies, helping with a community project, or working around her home. Okay. So like, assuming that Brindlewood Bay is kind of like a show, and it's like, we have our little theme song going and stuff. Kathleen had made a beautiful title card. So hopefully when I get to post this video, it's like I get to use it because it'll be awesome. But during this credit crawl and the theme song, we're going to take a look at the cozy vignettes, looking at each of the Mavens living their life, here in Brindlewood Bay so far. Okay, so whomever wants to start, it's like, again, just thinking of the theme song, yeah, and then just gotta go ahead and give a short vignette.
I'll go first. I'll say that Cynthia's vignette starts with her going for a jog in the town of Brindlewood Bay, staying fit and active, and she is pushing along in front of her one of those kiddie strollers with the bubble dome on it. And Caviar is riding in the stroller with her. And then once we get back to our abode, I take Caviar out of the stroller and I take him up to the house and I start brushing him. I put him on his little pedestal and I feed him a little kitty snack. And then it can fade to the next Maven.
We see Pearl in her kitchen. It's probably late morning by the slant of the sun. But it's a pleasant and sunny kitchen. And she is taking a pan of cinnamon rolls out of the oven, drizzling icing over them, flourish of chopped nuts, and then it cuts to her bringing this pan of cinnamon rolls to some sort of committee meeting. Looks like maybe a library committee, something like that, and everyone exclaiming and pouncing on the cinnamon rolls, and Pearl smiling as they smile at her.
I like it. So, kind of as you're seeing Pearl in through the window at the library, you're going to hear, walk down the street, a loud engine. Little bit of peel of the tires, and you're going to just see Mazi heading out of town to hit the highways, get a good afternoon little drive in. She's got her hearing's going, okay, but even before that, she played her music loud. It's not offensive music. It's like Rod Stewart, and we got a little bit like Bryan Adams, maybe some Journey thrown in there. So yeah, she's rocking out, heading up the hills, taking the curves and just enjoying her morning. She doesn't have a set time to be anywhere just yet, so just peeling out a bit.
Sounds wonderful. Oh my gosh. Okay, and then
I have a question about Caviar.
ooh,
What does Caviar look like? What color, coat length, etc.?
Caviar is a white, fluffy Himalayan cat with like sort of a smoosh nose, just so fluffy and white.
Oh, is she one of those like dwarf ones with the little tiny legs?
No,
Oh,
although I do love those. I
they're
do love
super
those.
cute.
oh, let's just clarify. It's like, what are Caviar's pronouns?
Caviar is a male cat.
Okay.
Although I can't promise that I won't accidentally misgender him.
Will he
Pending-
get mad though?
Yeah.
No, he's very chill about that.
Mm.
Okay.
So any
I do
pronouns,
try.
basically.
I do try my best.
So any pronouns, basically.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any. Okay, great. All right. So we will now present the first mystery. And actually, just wondering, and I'm normally this doesn't usually happen because people will do the usual thing and start with Dad Overboard, which is the first mystery prescribed, recommended for a new campaign. However, again, willful child here doesn't do what they're told. So we're just gonna kind of jump in and like be introduced to these characters like as we go along. Did you guys have an answer for my question, or do you still want to think about it and kind of show any familiarity, if at all, through play? What would you like to do?
I'm thinking that Pearl may have either maybe worked with Mazi or maybe just knew her by reputation.
I was kind of feeling the same thing. Like I feel like our characters may have, if not cross paths, at least cross some of the same circles.
Right.
Right. And for Cynthia, I mostly worked in Europe and then I was out of the game for a long time. So I don't necessarily have a career history with the other Mavens, but I have grown extremely fond of them in my time in Brindlewood Bay, especially Pearl's cooking. I can already tell.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Because I mean, again, you guys would still be together brought together because of, say, the book club. I mean, like, finding out that that this has been going on. I mean, it's not just you three that have been interested in Robin Masterson's books, but there's just it's what they carry at Brindlewood Bay, I guess. But I mean, you found yourselves like, together, brought together by this book club. But one of the things that has happened in Brindlewood Bay recently is that the most popular television program in the world, the Jolly Good Baking Show, has come to Brindlewood Bay to find the town's very best baker. A number of qualifying rounds have been held, and our murder mavens are among the bakers to make it through to the final televised portion of the show, where they will meet the charming presenters and have their confections judged by the notoriously strict Paul and Jane. The first scene, we're going to depict the opening round of the competition, okay? And it's going to be pies, all right? So, you're in this competition. It's like you made it to the final portion. What kind of pie? So it's kind of like a paint the scene establishing question for you three. What kind of pie is your particular maven making? Okay. That's the first question.
Is this are the judges British or American?
Oh, very, very interesting question. I can totally make them English, British. Yes.
Are we presenting a single pie between the three of us, or is each of us presenting a pie?
Ooh.
Each of you are presenting a pie. You are each a contestant
finalist.
as finalists. Yes, you are each a finalist, as well as I think two other contestants. So there's 5 of you left.
I think mine might be store-bought.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh my God.
You tricksy scammer, you.
I'm a rascal. It's true. Lemon meringue, and I don't even know what goes into those.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
Eggs,
You're good at faking, I'll say that.
lemons,
I think that I have decided to go very American with this. To sort of welcome the judges to a taste of America. So what I am doing is it's an apple pie, but there is a maple cream layer under the apples. As sort of a little bit of a surprise. And there are there are crushed walnuts in the crust. So just a little extra.
A little extra.
I only joined the competition so that I could eat Pearl's baking after it's been judged.
I like it.
Somehow you've been doing real well.
Really well. It's because they're store bought.
She snuck it in somehow. I think
It's one of those pockets.
Yeah,
One
or
of those-
you know. Oh my
Just a
god.
whole pie.
All she's got to do is really heat it up. I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's popped in the oven and stuff like that, and just
Just
take
wait
it.
till the camera's not looking and it's like boop pie.
we will gloss over any kind of worry about, like, the logistics of this thing. But what kind of pie is Mazi making?
So I think Mazi's gonna go kind of almost not quite the opposite as Pearl, but she's like, all right, like they're British. What do British people like? They like meat pies. I'm gonna make a meat pie. Like, not knowing whether or not we're supposed to actually be making like desserts, but I'm going like hard, it's got like the gravy and it's got like, minced meat, and I'm so focused on my meat pie that I don't recognize that everybody else is making sweet pies and like dessert pies, and I'm over here making dinner. I'm like, yeah. It's not pretty though. It's savory, but it is definitely very minced and not pretty.
Okay. All right. So so the component about this is that it isn't necessarily run like a regular mystery. Oh my gosh, this picture of caviar in the chat is amazing. Holy crap. Yeah.
Isn't he beautiful, my little prince?
Oh my gosh. Sorry. Had a dote on cats. All right.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Does Cynthia put, like, to make her store-bought pie seem authentic, do you put like a cat hair like to add that flourish?
Caviar's got a little saddle that has a pie pan attachment, and he's just been bringing them in. Well, nobody's looking. Just bringing them in.
That
like,
is amazing. Holy crap.
sold.
Totally sold. Okay. Oh my god, you guys are grifting already. This is great. Okay. Holy shit. No, this is I'm sorry. Like, I'm just amazed. It's wonderful. Okay. So the way this works is that I'm going to randomly, usually choice of three. I'm going to ask somebody else whether they think that the pie that you made is a triumph or rather disappointing. Okay. If the Mavens' cozy activity is baking, their pie is automatically a triumph. So Pearl, you did great. Now, the other players and myself will be offering a detail about how the pie was beautifully executed, if a triumph, or a detail about how it was a disaster if it was rather disappointing. And then during this process, I will go ahead and introduce the cast of suspects. Okay. So, all right. So this is kind of like the stage where, each of the bakers are going to be hard at work at their pies. Okay. So this is the segment where the camera people will be going around and, like, taking beauty shots of, like, you baking or your industry on your counter. And then, the presenters, Sue Mellon and Timothy Bouche, will be like, kind of walking around and like, either making fun or kind of flirting with you, depending on like, like how they go. And they'll also be like kind of asking about questions about like, what you put in your pies and such. And then of course, like you will be meeting Jane Leaf, one of the judges, who's kind of walking around like, looking serious, but not quite so serious as, oh my goodness, like, steely-eyed, silver-haired Paul Riviera. So just be aware of that. And then I don't think that you guys are paying attention to the other two contestants in here. I mean, they're busy working on their own stuff as well. Yeah, Scott Lamb is organized, fond of bow ties, and kind of a twink. And Melanie Blair is always frazzled and very intense. So she may be a bit too much to talk to while she's working. So all right, so let's like go to each of you in turn. So again, Pearl, I think your pie is going to be a triumph as usual, baking as you do, as much as you do. Each of us should give a detail about how Pearl's pie is amazing. This apple maple cream concoction.
So I'm thinking that you did kind of a you said you did like a layered effect or whatever. The last part you did is you kind of baked it and then you pulled it back out and you like drizzled a little bit extra, almost like a caramelly kind of thing, and then baked, like crisped it. So it's got that little bit of crunch on the top, and it's just like the perfect like marriage of like sweet and crunchy with a little, like you almost add like a little sprinkle of like the sea salt, so you get that like sea salt caramel-esque coming in there.
I want this pie now.
I know, right? I'm like, man,
Holy shit.
Sounds delicious.
It sounds amazing. Holy crap. I think you
I'm-
also, oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm just gonna say, I think that Pearl has a secret ingredient, and what it is the. Did you say it was walnuts baked into the crust? Okay, the walnuts that are baked into the crust are not your everyday regular walnuts. They're imported Hungarian Black Forest walnuts that actually have an aroma of vanilla when baked, and it adds a depth of flavor, and it makes the pie smell very exotic, like the flower that vanilla comes from.
I think you even did something to the crust that when you, of course you blind baked it, did whatever you needed to do for the bottom crust and what have you. But when you did the top, there was something special that only you figured out how to do, where when it twisted up or when you put it down or whatever, when it bakes, it blooms. So it turns into that, like to the little vanilla flowers. So it's like beautiful, it's brown, it's flaky, but it has this gorgeous setup on the top. It's amazing. Holy crap. So that is Pearl's pie. And yeah, Timothy Bouche comes by and he's got, yeah, he's kind of lanky and got some broad humor, as we know, and kind of gothy, and doesn't know the first thing about baking, but he's just kind of like ribbing you into the side, and it's like, oh, it's a bit of a bloom there, isn't he? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You got any alcohol on that?
No. I think it would go beautifully with a bit of bourbon, but I wanted the other flavors to shine in this particular case.
You do know that if you include a little bit of a tipple next, with the pie, it's like, Jane might lean a little bit towards you. It's a thought. It's a thought. I didn't say it. I said
no.
nothing.
Obviously not. You wouldn't. You wouldn't want to tip the competition. Obviously.
No, but I hear bourbon is really popular this year, so There we go. And all right. So then we have like Sue. Sue's boisterous, very punny, and kind of a hugger, like if given the opportunity, because like, she just loves to, feel cozy with all of the contestants. And she kind of comes over to you, Cynthia, and then like, starts to make a little bit of a joke. And it's like, are you sure there's lemons in here? It's like, it's like I almost feel like I could use it as a bit of a mask for my face to keep my youthful appearance. And
there's definitely a variety of lemons in here. As you can see, they're on the counter. And I have been cutting them and doing I've been doing a baking.
Goodness, look at all the lemon peels. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, it's like definitely, it's like if it pops full, and it's like, you've got it in the bag for sure. And then like, she'll kind of like sneak a little taste of like, maybe like you had some cream fall off of it or something like that, and she kind of like just so rich, so tart. Woo! It's like just like that nonce I met like last night, and and everything like that. So she just makes a joke. And yeah, so Mazi, do we think that Cynthia's pie is a triumph or rather disappointing?
I think they're gonna take it as a triumph, actually. Like, you snuck it in, and they're like, you made it like legit enough that you've got like the lemons, you've got like, you took like smeared some flour on your face.
Yes.
You're pulling off the con more than you are the pie.
Love it. Okay, so each of us now give a detail about how it was a triumph.
So I think that just to add to her triumph, she's like, all right, so they're definitely looking for some lemons, and you're actually going to take the time and you're going to like thinly slice a couple lemons and make like a pattern on the top of it. So it is store-bought, but you added your own touch.
That's right. I remember how to make lemon roses from my days in Europe. And so I did add a lemon rose to the top after it came out of the oven.
Yeah. Before it went in the chiller, right?
Exactly. You wouldn't want the marshmallow bits on top to fall down. It's very important.
It's just so hilarious, funny. Oh my god. I think
it's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The meringue is really beautifully piped.
Meringue, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I said.
And if anybody was really paying attention, they might notice a distinct absence of piping bag anywhere around your station. But your patter is so good.
Yes, I think that's intensely how it's a triumph, is because it's like, you are moving things around so much, but as you're moving things around, making like you're chopping up, or you're chopping up the ingredients, measuring things out, putting them into the whatever, you're also making these lemon roses, and then you're also adding other bits to it, like maybe like you've also snuck in like those edible decorations, but they look so good that something that you can make along with the roses, that people are totally buying it, because again, you're making it look like it's easy and effortless, and you're giving the pattern that the camera wants, that the information that the audience wants, that it is totally a triumph. I love it. All right, now Mazi. All right, so for Mazi's pie, which is a meat pie, it's like, we're talking like savory stuff here,
Yep. It's got the onions, it's got meat, gravy.
Yep. It's hearty. It's hearty stuff. Absolutely. So Pearl, Would you call this a triumph or rather disappointing?
Is this something that Mazi has made before?
Oh no. Oh
Ye-
no.
God.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's disappointing, and the biggest problem with it, the filling is nice and savory. It's good, but the crust is a slightly sweet crust designed for a sweet pie, and the clash is just not good.
I think Jane Leaf, one of the judges, comes by at this point. She's tall, she's sweetly judgmental and posh and elderly with like kind of like a bouffant pixie. And she just kind of is doing the rounds, like her hands are behind her back, and she's just kind of like looking over at everybody's station and everything. She looks over at your station, Mazi, and it's a bit of a mess. And she just kind of says, oh, I don't know if that works. I mean, it seems a bit uh, well, I can't say for certain. It'll be
Beefy.
interesting. That's part of it, yes.
Mhm.
But the amount of well, it's all in the tasting, absolutely.
Imagine I'm like rolling out the dough and I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm
And
gonna do
she
it.
gets this look on her face like,
Like I have no clue what I'm doing in this instance.
right. So, anybody else with a detail about how it's disappointing?
I'm going to say, in the grand tradition of mince pies from Europe, Mazi has attempted to make a decorative dough top for the pie, which was, and it's supposed to be a rabbit cut out, but has sort of morphed in the oven, and now it just looks a little inappropriate for television.
I think at that point, I think the camera will actually the cameraman will zoom in behind you, and then we'll also kind of slowly do the dramatic lift, because Paul Riviera is just looking over your station going,
And while they're looking at, I'm probably looking at it and I'm like turning it different directions to see if I can make the orientation better.
no, because they got the close up on the camera. Ooh, my God. I think even Scott Lamb, one of the other contestants, will kind of glance over, but then stop, and in his glancing, he's gonna be blinking. Is that for real?
You made Scott Lamb blush.
Yeah. I mean, how did you do that?
It's a family technique. Lots of kneading.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. And he'll
Gotta work that dough.
He's gonna turn at that and just work on his own stuff. And I think Melanie Blair's just really working hard in her corner. She's not even paying attention to you three or Scott. She's just working hard, and just her hair gets frizzier the more that she's working and baking. So by the time her pie comes out, it's she looks she stuck her fingers in an electric socket, basically. It's what it looks like. And then the producer, Heath Hendricks, is kind of kind of in the back, just out of the camera view, and you just see him every single time that you see him, he's gesticulating to somebody, very fond of using 3, 2, 1. You just see him every single time you look at him, he's always doing the 3, 2, 1. And it's why? I mean, he's not even saying it to anybody. He's just like kind of like just making these the gestures. It's very strange. And then Buck, the cameraman, just kind of like, again, going around and like, like zooming in on like, things that look good and then, or bad, whichever. And, just trying to get as much footage as he possibly can. Okay. There's a short break in the filming after the pie round. Okay. And then everybody's, easing off. I mean, like, you're trying each other's pies. I mean, aside from looking kind of weird, I mean, like, does Mazi's pie like taste okay? I mean, you all get an opportunity to try each other's bakes. So, I mean, it's not like,
It's edible.
I mean, I'm picturing the filling being pretty good. It's just that you know how to make a good savory stew type thing. You just don't know how to make a meat pie.
If you separate the pie and the crust, it's actually quite delightful. The pie for the inside for dinner and the crust for dessert.
Exactly. It's a 2-course meal all in one.
Brilliant.
I think Timothy Boosh is like, he's trying everything just like everybody else, but like, he kind of like, before everybody digs into your pie, Mazi, like, he'll just kind of look over and says, "Oh, that looks like something as I saw in like, during one of my Halloween parties. It had a lot more blood to it, but I mean, like, very similar." So
Perfect.
yeah, absolutely. And then everybody breaks off, like maybe the judges and the presenters go off to their trailers, and then you guys have a chance to have a break like outside of the tent, because it gets pretty warm, like, with everybody baking, and it's like there's really no fans in there, because I mean, you can't, because of the filming that's going on, otherwise nobody could be heard. But soon after, like, you're taking the break, you're trying everybody's food and taking a meal break, there's a scream. One of the, well, I think it's Sue. I think you hear Sue scream, and she comes tearing around the corner where you guys are all like, around one of the outdoor tables. And she says, "It's like, Paul's dead. Paul's dead." And everybody's going to rush over to the trailer.
Yes. My goodness.
Yeah. So Paul Riviera is dead in his trailer, and it looks like there's been like a police presence. I mean, again, because it's like such a popular show, it's like they couldn't help but have at least like some cops, like, being around here. Of course, one of your favorites would be Sheriff Wyman Dalrymple. Okay. So, I don't know if he suspects, like, your histories, but I mean, like, he doesn't like the murder mavens in general because of their busybodiness with their with the detective stuff, with the book club, mystery book club. But I mean, even more so when he sees that you're part of this cast, and you can see through the window that Paul Riviera is dead. His face is covered with flour, and his hands are tied behind his back with, well, nylon cords. So, yeah, the production team is like, keep calm, carry on. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not fine, obviously, but I mean, like, that's what they got to say. And yeah, Sheriff Dalrymple will actually come over to you begrudgingly after the body's discovered, excuse me, and say, "Look, I hate asking, but if you can, while you're here, if you can just question people and find out if anybody saw anything during the filming, during the competition." I mean, obviously there wasn't that much time for stuff to happen since he was around to judge the pie. Can you Do you think you can do this without causing a ruckus?
You're muted, girl.
Sheriff, when do we ever cause a ruckus?
And he just gives you a look.
We are the very picture of discretion. Most of us.
I just stay silent. I've got several unpaid tickets, I'm sure.
I was gonna
and,
say, I mean, because he's giving you a look right
noise
there, like
ordinance destruction,
no,
and
right. Yeah. It's like
Speed.
looking right to Mazi, like, oh, you're like skirting the line, girl.
I'm just
uh,
sitting here going like,
and he'll just kind of like wander away, just kind of like giving you guys the side eye, as he's leaving. But yeah, so this is the mystery of who killed Paul. Complexity 7, and I'll explain what that means in just a second. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. So there is 2 more rounds. I'll just let you know that there's 2 more rounds of judging, okay, with breaks in between. And if the mystery isn't solved by the end of the competition, the investigation can extend over as many hours or days as are needed, okay? Suspects will not be allowed to leave Brindlewood Bay until the culprit is brought to justice, okay? Should have an establishing question, and I didn't get a chance to do it before. The Jolly Good Baking Show is connected to one of your favorite memories. What is that memory? So each of you would answer this.
I'm gonna say for Mazi, it would be one of the times I went home to visit Jordan and her girls before she passed away. We watched it on like a Christmas Eve kind of thing. That was what they wanted to watch because it was one of their like holiday special baking shows that they had, like an annual thing. They were all really into it. Their other thing that they like to do is the next day they would try to recreate one of the contestants' recipes. So I got to partake in this tradition that they had, and failed spectacularly, of course. But it was great.
When you live like Bob and I did, you spend a lot of time in hotel rooms of varying quality. And sometimes some, what you might call comfort viewing TV can be a nice way to unwind at the end of the day. And the great thing about TV is it doesn't matter if you're in San Diego or Topeka, you're probably able to watch the same things. So I've always liked cooking shows. Unsurprisingly, it's something I'm really interested in, and I really latched onto the baking show. But pardon me. But this particular time, I had been disappointed by a mushroom puff pastry appetizer that I'd tried to make not too long before, and there was just too soggy. And I had not cracked how to make it not soggy. And watching an episode of the baking show, one of the contestants was baking rather than butter sauteing their mushrooms before adding them to the filling, and I realized that was the answer to drive off the liquid. And so watching the technical aspects unlocked something for me. And I mean, I can appreciate the personalities and the humor and all that, but it's always been the actual baking that has been the thing for me. And I really treasured the moment that I learned something at the time that I really wanted to learn it.
Interesting story, actually. It was at the wrap-up cast party for season 1 of the baking show that I met Lyman. I was friends with the producer, of course, and the Duchess's nephew invited Lyman. Of course, this was years ago. And we ended up being sat together at the dinner table. And so we got to talking as one does, and it was actually the beginning of the rest of my life.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. That's awesome. All right. So, again, complexity 7. What this means is that the Mavens are going to be doing some investigations throughout the competition and possibly beyond if they can't solve it or get enough clues before the end of the competition. And so when they're doing investigations, it involves doing some of the reference moves. So we would have the meddling move is what they would use for investigation, where they would search for a clue, conduct research, or otherwise gather information. And then they would describe how they're doing so and enroll with an appropriate ability. This is the opportunity for them to get clues that they would find pretty much anywhere, depending on their roles. And then to meet the to be able to theorize, which is where you would try to figure out an answer for the mystery. You would need at least half the number of clues for the complexity of the actual mystery. Okay, so you could have a minimum of like 4 clues to be able to solve it, but at the end of a theorize move, like depending on how many clues you're able to use, then you would basically take the number of clues incorporated into the theorize move and take that away from the complexity of the mystery. Excuse me, hold on. I love explaining this because it's terrible. All right, so after gathering as much clues as possible. So I'm going to rewind that and probably cut that completely out. At the end of the theorize move, when the Mavens have an open freewheeling discussion about a solution to a mystery once they have gathered clues equal to at least half the mystery's complexity, rounded up, and reach a consensus. Roll plus the number of clues incorporated into the theory or otherwise explained away minus the mystery's complexity. And then depending on how they roll, okay, then that would determine whether they're right with a complication or something terrible happening in the quest to solve it, or they succeed, they don't succeed, and then they have to figure something else out, which we could get into if that happens. We've done this before, and it was hysterical when they took a miss. Oh my gosh. Okay. So anyway, we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just going to basically have them start the investigation to get clues and then formulate a theory once they gathered enough, okay, what they consider enough. So there's different places to investigate while you're on the set of this competition. Pretty much everybody's trailer. So Jane's trailer, Sue's trailer, Timothy's trailer, and also the judge's tent. So there's many different places to search around here for clues. Okay, so just tell me what you want to do. You can go in pairs, you can go by yourselves. That's all up to you. Let's say that for this first break, I mean, there's going to be a lull because they have to wait until the cops have taken Paul's body away and then do whatever investigation they're going to do. But you all know that Sheriff Dalrymple's not going to do the best job. So take this as your opportunity to do a little bit of snooping if you want. Meddling. So where would you each like to go?
I would like to find Jane, but before I do, I'm assuming that this being a British production, that there's a craft services table with decent tea.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm gonna get a cup of tea. And I brought a flask of bourbon because I was debating whether to add bourbon to the pie. So I'm going to not doctor up the tea yet. but I've been paying attention. I know how she takes her tea, whether she wants sugar, whether she wants cream. I will track her down, hand her the cuppa, say, pardon me. Oh, I am so sorry. This must be so awful for you. A colleague. And as I hand her the tea, I discreetly display the small flask, like,
Oh, she's got a stiff upper lip. She's not going to bend, although you do see a little bit of a tremble, and even that for her is like, I'm so sorry. I seem to have broken down just a little bit. And so if it's not too much trouble, and then she'll kind of maneuver her teacup a little
and I'll
closer to your flask.
All being very discreet, nobody standing, wasn't standing close in just the right position would see what we're doing.
Yep. Nope, not at all. I mean, that is perfectly fine. So, let's just say, you get into her good graces. She gets a little bit, very much into the cuppa, especially with that additive. So let's see. You can totally do a, as you're commiserating with her, how do you think you are meddling? Are you presence, would you say? Or
yeah.
Okay.
And the sort of angle I'm taking is, well, he seemed like a stern judge, but a nice man. So who could possibly have wanted to do something like this? And trying to sort of angle for, backstage friction or things like that.
I have had a career for over 60 years. Oh, and just so much worry. I shouldn't be. I mean, my contract may be up for renewal, but it's never been a problem before, and this is quite popular. But I can't believe Paul's been trying to do hardball. I mean, it seems a little bit unreasonable for the show. I mean, you can only do so much, especially when we're trying to fund everyone's, ingredients, and to be able to make sure that everything goes smoothly with the production. Seem to try to get more money or more resources just seems a little bit over the top, which not in keeping with just carrying on. So go ahead and roll with presence, 2d6 plus your presence, unless you want to add or do advantage with a personal quarters item. It's still early days yet, so you may not want to do that right away, but
yeah, I think
it
I'll
is an
just
option.
do
Okay.
the 2d6 plus 1.
Okay.
Okay, so I got a 6.
And that is a miss, if I'm not mistaken. Oh my goodness. Well, for a miss, you're not going to get a clue, and you will get something weird or bad happening. However, one of the things that you can do in this game is, if you want to bump up your roll, your result by 1 tier, you would use one of your crowns. Crowns are in this game as a way of narrating some backstory or adding to the future of the Maven, counting down to where things get really dark and weird. So they have the choice of either doing the Crown of the Queen, which represents the idea of your Maven as a woman and can be marked in any order, or marking a Crown of the Void, which represent the effects of the dark conspiracy on your Maven. These must be marked in order, and the final box heralds your Maven's retirement. So you can either go with the miss, or you could bump it up a tier with the Crown of the Queen or the Void. What would you like to do?
I think I'm going to go ahead and use one of the crowns of the queen.
Okay.
And I think I am going to go with I'll stop that. Sorry. Flashback showing how you were an imperfect mother.
Okay.
So should I narrate that now, or do you want me to slide that in later?
You can slide that in later. Let's get some more investigation on the table. I mean, like if you guys finish the mystery tonight, fantastic. And if you don't, it's no big deal. Okay.
Sounds good.
But we will do the crowns at the end as well as the debrief stars and wishes. Okay. All right. So let's go on to the next Maven. Let's go on to Cynthia. Cynthia, would you like to engage somebody, or would you just like to investigate and be snoopy?
Okay, so definitely, don't you laugh at me. Definitely would want to be checking out the trailers as
Okay.
long as there's nobody in them.
Well, definitely Jane's not in her trailer because I mean, she's talking with Pearl right now. So hers would be empty for sure. I mean, you're not sure about Sue or Timothy's
What about
just yet.
Paul's trailer? Is it off limits?
Right now it's off limits because of the cops swarming all over it or like finishing up and what have you. So they've moved the body away
Is there any way a cat could get in unnoticed?
That could happen for sure. Hold on, let's see. Okay, so reading the move. Feline friend with whom you share a very strong bond. This extraordinary kitty can do tricks and follow simple commands. You've named Caviar and add them to your cozy place. When you use the cat to get advantage on a roll, leave it unmarked. So you can use Caviar to, tell me how he's going to investigate, and then you would get advantage when you roll with Caviar.
Okay.
What do you want to tell him to do?
I'm gonna tell Caviar to bring mommy back something interesting. If you go around the back side of the trailer, there's actually a little ladder that goes to the top of the trailer that has a vent window on top, and Caviar could easily get in and out of that vent. And so I think I'm going to ask Caviar to bring mommy back something interesting and give him a little boost onto the little ladder, and then he can go into the vent.
Okay. So go ahead and, so let's see. In this case, you want to roll with advantage. Let's see, using... I'm going to say composure in this sense, because I mean, you're trying to look nonchalant as you're letting your cat, go investigate. So
my composure is a 1.
So 3d6, take the 2 highest plus 1.
3d6, take the 2 highest plus 1. I got a 6.
7? Oh, wait, hold on.
I rolled a 1 and a 4.
Okay.
Plus 1 is a 6.
Got it. Okay.
That looks like it's Pearl's roll, though.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm up top. Look
say.
at me.
Okay.
7.
Yeah, okay. I was like,
Look.
wait.
Okay, look.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, you got a 7. That's cool.
I'm not a math scientist, okay?
That's okay.
You're
not a nurse this time.
I'm not a nurse. I'm not a nurse.
Oh gosh. Oh my god. That was the best. That was so much the best. Holy crap. Okay, sorry. Meddling move, 7 to 9. There's a complication either with the clue itself or the complication that you encounter while searching. The keeper will tell you what the complication is. All right, so I'm going to give you the complication first before I let Caviar come back with the clue. All right, and I think your complication is as you have boosted Caviar up to the roof of Paul's trailer, I think one of the, let me see, who do I want to appear on the scene? Oh yeah, okay, so I think Buck, the cameraman, comes around he's handsome. He's like, really good humored and stuff. Like, he's been kind of like ribbing with all of you, like behind the scenes as well. I think you've been kind of like flirting with him as well. Because every single time that you've seen Caviar come in with like what you need for the show, I think you've like tried to flirt with him to keep Buck's attention away from Caviar.
My
So,
goodness, what large biceps you have.
oh,
Do
thanks
you
for
work out?
noticing. Yeah, absolutely. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God, the other one's even bigger.
Oh, I need more balance. I mean, like I can't have them
stand over
like I
here.
can't have one of them like bigger than this. Oh my gosh.
How often do you work out?
I don't think enough. But I mean, and like he kind of like looks crestfallen or like, upset. And then like he'll actually take your hands and like just kind of like look at you earnestly and say, this whole situation is so unbearably tragic. I mean, the Jolly Good Baking Show is one of the few lights we have in this dark, dismal world. Tell me another show that can bring people together like this one can. I mean, young and old and rich and poor, black and white. It's something we can all agree on, And now that Paul's gone, it'll never be the same. That
Buck,
light is just a little bit dimmer now.
truly you are a poet. As surely you have a poet's heart that is hurting in these trying times.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And as he's
But-
nodding at you, he's starting to lift his head to the sky, like looking at the top of the roof.
But look at me, darling. I was here before Paul was the host, and there will be hosts after Paul. We must remain strong. We must remain strong. It's what Paul would have wanted.
Are you squishing his face as you're
Yes.
like,
Squishing his face. Cute little Buck.
yeah. It's like, and he'll clasp his hands on top of yours and go, I mean, I guess you're right. I mean, like the light, the light has to be there from everyone, not just one person.
It's what
Yeah.
Paul would have wanted.
And he just nods while keeping his hands on yours.
Go, Buck. Go. Do those things that Paul would have wanted you to do. Don't you have editing or something, dear, that you need to
Yes,
get
yes.
to?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I mean, I just was falling into your eyes.
You are a dreamboat, Buck.
Thanks. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think after this little interlude, I think you know what? I'm gonna cut over to Mazi first, and then I'm gonna give you your clue. It's just too funny. Okay, Mazi, how are you investigating?
I think I'm gonna go to the judge's tent.
Okay.
I'm gonna start, just casually walking up, do the not so obvious, looking around, seeing if
Right.
anybody's kind of looking, and then just like pop into the tent and
Okay.
start looking around.
So this one has a paint the scene. The
Ooh.
judge's tent is normally decorated to look like a quaint cottage somewhere in the English countryside, but has been given an American flair for this special episode. What sort of American gewgaws do you see?
So I think the first thing that pops into my head is there's a bookshelf kind of on the back, and it's got like your typical little tchotchkes. It's got a couple like, your books and everything. But something that definitely stands out as very American is a little like figurine of like a proud bald eagle. Like just that standard, you can see the Star-Spangled Banner flapping behind it, the rifles in its hands, it's screeching freedom. It's American.
No. It's American.
American.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
What other details?
Not Floridian, American.
they wanted to acknowledge American love of sports, but they didn't want to endorse any one team. So they wound up with a small pyramid of baseballs and a pair of baseball bats crossed above them, but no team colors or anything because they're trying to be neutral.
I would say that in addition to those two things, the pyramid of baseballs that don't belong to any particular team and the freedom screeching, gun toting American Eagle figurine, there is actually a tapestry hanging against the side wall that depicts Washington crossing the Potomac. But instead of the traditional painting, they've modified it. Well, they procured it secondhand on their way over. So it's not necessarily a faithful reproduction because this one has flames painted on the side of Washington's boat to make him go faster, of course. So other than that one small detail, though, it is a flawless reproduction.
So just to clarify, it's like the little kid light up sneakers. The flames make them go faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. They don't actually light up. It's just they're painted
Yeah.
on the side of the boat.
And they believe that that's what we think.
Yes, exactly.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually manufactured in Canada for American audiences, and they had to import it at great cost. So I'd appreciate you not,
Calling it out.
belittling the American pride of our flame boat. Okay, thank you.
Okay, got it. Just to make sure.
Okay. Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh. Okay. I'm sorry, I have to die laughing for a second. Okay. All right. So how are you investigating in this judge's tent before I go back around and give everybody clues?
So first thing I want to do is just kind of take in the scene, see if there's anything that's like sticking out, because I'm sure we've seen it either in passing or been like had like discussions in the tent, things like that. So I want to look if there's anything, maybe the screeching eagle's missing. Maybe is there anything that like immediately jumps out that is out of place. And then after I do like my initial kind of sweep, probably do a quick peek to see if anybody's coming, make sure I'm still in the clear, and then go back and kind of go more in detail on like some of the areas, maybe like the bookshelf, if there's like a table with any sort of drawers or anything, start getting into more gritty details if I can.
Well, let's encompass all of that fun stuff with a roll. So in this case,
yes.
you will be rolling the meddling move with reason. Okay.
With a reason. All right. I don't think I have any of that. Oh, I do. I have one. Okay. I got some reason. I'm good.
And you can also, again, I just want to remind you all that you can use a cozy little place item towards advantage. But again, unless it's something that either your move specifically says you can leave unmarked, then you have to mark it and then can't use it again for advantage until you have that advancement. But unless you completely flub the roll, then you will still have it in your in your cozy little place to be used for fictional positioning. So you just wouldn't be able to use it mechanically again. Okay.
Nothing really in my cozy little place makes sense at the moment. So
Okay.
I will just roll my +1. Oh, 8 total. I rolled a 5 and a 2 +1.
Excellent. Okay. So that is an 8. All right. So let's see. I think you're doing the bebop around, you're like trying to take a little peek, and then you look around to make sure that nobody's coming. Nobody is. I mean, like they're either all involved with rubbernecking the cops, or they are like, thinking their own thinks like somewhere else, or they're busy like Melanie somewhere, or like having a discussion like Cynthia and Buck, something like that. I'm gonna go ahead and start you off with some clue, and then I'll go to everybody else. So let's see. I think that you are finding. Oh, and in the character keeper, it's like there is the part for the mystery, which I did not filled in, and I apologize for that.
I think I put it on.
Okay.
Who killed
Fabulous.
Paul?
Okay.
Is what you said.
Yeah. Okay. So then you would start filling in the clues in the clues section. Okay. Your clue that you find when you're digging in the drawers, excuse me, you find a pile of receipts suggesting extravagant expenditures. A pile of receipts suggesting extravagant expenditures. And as you gather clues, these clues are vague enough, but specific in a particular way that you can put them together when you come together for the theorized move and contextualize as you go. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily matter where you find them, when you find them, that sort of thing. It's like something that you can work out when you put the clues together. All right. Okay. And then I'm going to go over to Pearl. So you bumped up your roll. So this way you have a 7 to 9. And let me just give you your clue first.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do I have a complication because I was an 8?
Yes, you will have a complication. Okay. Yeah, I think, and I'll get back to you after I give everybody else their clues.
Okay.
But I think your complication is that, as you have found the pile of receipts, I think you will have Timothy come upon you in the judge's tent. Okay. All right. So, Pearl, you have been talking with Jane, and you have found out some information. She tells you a strange story as she's getting deeper in her cuppa with some cups in it. And she tells you about how she came upon recently a cookbook that was authored by both her and Paul, but one of Paul's recipes was torn out rather violently. That is your clue. A cookbook authored by Jane and Paul, but with one of Paul's recipes torn out. And I think your complication is that Jane she's got a stiff upper lip, but I mean, I think, you've kind of made a friend between the commiserating and the bourbon. So I think she'll kind of be kind of sticking close to you for a little bit. I'm going to call that the condition, a leaf stuck in your hair. Jane's last name is Leaf. So, yeah, that is your condition. And then Cynthia. Sorry. Okay. Cynthia, your clue is, oh yes. So basically, you have dealt with Buck. And Buck is like,
Who
go
we
forth.
love. We love him.
Go forth, Buck. And then you're watching him go, leave you kind of just, thinking his thinks. And, you can see his cute butt in his tight jeans and stuff, like leaving you. It's so much a himbo, yes. He leaves you, and then you hear from up top, from the top of Paul's trailer, and it looks like Caviar has something in his mouth. And when you greet him and catch him, you see in his mouth, and this is your clue, what look like extremely valuable diamond earrings shaped like tiny loaves of bread. This is in Paul's trailer. Extremely valuable diamond earrings shaped like tiny loaves of bread.
Sweet baby.
Mhm.
You still are so wonderful.
Do you have a cat treat for him?
I do. I always do. A little bag on my side, of course, full of cat treats.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to go back to Mazi in the judge's tent. I think that Timothy Boosh has come upon you, and he's looking pensive. Although when he sees you, he's kind of just a little surprised, but then doesn't say why are you here or whatever. He's just kind of like looking, what's the word? Distracted. I wonder why.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like, do you
Do I like literally have like the handfuls of receipts like currently, like I have just found them. I'm looking at them, at the moment, or I guess
I'm gonna
where
say
exactly would I?
with an 8, I'm gonna say that maybe he sees you with papers in your hand, but I mean, like, he doesn't know what they are.
Okay.
So
maybe like not right next to the drawer where they had been.
yeah. I mean, like, you can place yourself anywhere in the room. I mean, like, he sees you again, he sees that you have papers in your hand, but he doesn't know what they are. And again, he's looking kind of distracted. That's a rough bit of business, isn't it? What? Can't believe he's gone.
I know. I feel it's very, and I'm gonna slide over to where that drawer is probably still cracked open at least, and just kind of lean, like very casually, kind of lean, close the drawer at least, and like put my hands like in my pockets with the receipts.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know. I've watched the show for years, and I don't know how to take this news, and I can't think of anybody. I mean, I've never seen anything in the filming that indicated anybody would want to harm him.
I mean, he's a rough old dog, absolutely. I mean, he's not exactly the easiest to work with, but I mean, he's got sense of humor deep down. Deep down. But I mean, yeah, it's just incredible. And he's just kind of like ruffling his hands through his hair and then just realizing where you are. It's like, oh, I guess I just wandered in here just to have some place to go, I suppose. It seems weird to go back to my trailer by myself. Did you want to go to the craft table and get a cuppa?
Sure, that'd be lovely. And we could come back here. It's nice and quiet. Nobody seems to be venturing into the tent here. It's actually rather peaceful in here at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, normally Jane would be here. I mean, like, kind of doing the weights. I'm not sure where she went to. Yeah, let's go ahead and get a spot of tea, and then we can come back here.
Okay, I'll walk over, kind of like, like that polite, like place my hand like kind of on his shoulders, like, like comforting, and yes, surely we'll find out more about what's going on soon. The police are on it, and they're respectable.
Are they good? That's the question. I mean, will they be able to find out who did it?
Somebody will find out who did it. I leave it open like that. I don't even like try to mask it that it won't be the police.
Got it. Okay. Fantastic. Yeah. All right, great. And then so you head off with Timothy to go get some tea. So I think at this point, we're going to be taking another 5-minute break. Okay. And then we can come back and see if you want to do another round of investigations. I mean, or like, someplace else, or if you want to like, you have 3 clues so far on a complexity 7. I mean, conceivably you can get one more clue and then try to do a theorize, but then you'd probably end up rolling on negative. Some people want to do that. I wonder why. but that's fine. So let's go ahead and do 5 minutes, and then we'll come back at the 58 mark. Okay. So see you in 5.
That's good.
Yep.
I was gonna say, he said it looked like one of his things out of his Halloween
Yeah.
things,
No, it's so
but
true.
with more blood.
Yes. So for the benefit of the video, because it's like I intend on putting this as like, hey, these are people playing games here. Yeah, when
We're humans.
one of the pies was described as being suggestive, I was actually reading the new and improved version of the mysteries in the Kickstarter version of Brindlewood Bay, and one of the moments in GBBBO is someone's bake looks like a cock. Everyone laughs except for Jane, who doesn't understand what's so funny, and will you please stop it, you lot? We have a show to run. Oh my goodness. So granted, somebody was always going to think about these things. Okay, it's wonderful. And I'm very slow at doing this, so pardon me. I'm going to give each of the remaining Mavens like a condition, so this way they can enact later on, or next time, they can enact the cozy move. And the cozy move is the ability to not only remove conditions, but also to have to give themselves some kind of let me see. Let me just read it off here. Yes. So just for an example, the cozy move: when you have an intimate moment with another Maven while one of you is engaged in your cozy activity, you may each clear an appropriate condition. If it's your cozy activity, you can also stumble upon a clue related to the active mystery. Tell the keeper what it is, but the clue cannot conclusively solve the mystery all by itself. So just remember that. But the cozy move is fun, and we like to include that for when the Mavens incur some conditions. So I think for Cynthia, I think your condition is poem by Buck. And let's see, for Mazi. Yeah, I think your condition is cuppa with Timothy. So let's see. Do you want, I mean, it is like half an hour left. So what we can do is we can like wrap up a little bit early, which is perfectly fine. I would just add a little something to the end of this before we completely end. Okay. We can do end of session questions, because it is end of session, not end of mystery. So that's pretty cool. I leave it up to you. Or do you want to just go ahead and do like a couple more investigative, like another investigative opportunity, like to do the meddling move, and then we do crown, because Pearl has a crown to relate, and then stars and wishes. What would you like to do?
I'm flexible. I could do another round of meddling moves, or I'd be fine with wrapping here for the night.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible either way as well.
I think since we have a Maven move and we still need to do our stars and wishes, I think I'd like to sort of start wrapping up.
That's fine. No, that's
That's fair.
perfectly
Yeah.
fine. Totally fair.
Have a good cut for that, and then get into it next time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, I think I know how to do this too, because I think as Timothy, as Timothy and Mazi are heading over to the craft area to get cuppa, I think bursting out of the producers area, I think burst in this bottle blonde woman wearing all leopard print, even in like a headband in her hair to the platform heels that she's wearing, and piles of makeup. She's coming out screeching, "And what's this about Paul being dead? I can't believe someone would kill him." And that's where we end today's episode.
I already like her.
You might
It's
recognize
not a noise.
not a noise. I will say before we for now to get into the next scene, I think you might recognize her anybody that's fans of the short-lived reality television program, The Real Scousewives of Liverpool. She is Paul Revere's wife, Donna. Okay, so that's where we will end this evening. So let's go ahead and take a look at end of session questions before we get into Pearl's Crown. And then we'll wrap up with some stars and wishes. Okay, so going to the Mavens. All right, let's start with Mazi. And then going backwards. So, did the murder Maven solve a mystery? No,
Nope.
not yet. Did you share a memory of a late family member?
I don't know if it counts when we talked about our favorite memories of involving the show.
Yes, I would count
Okay.
that. Yes. Did you share your wisdom with a young person?
Oh, I don't think so. Not unless
Okay.
you count the pie as a young person.
No.
I whispered sweet nothings to that pie as I made it, but it didn't work out.
Right. Okay. So then you would basically move that check mark into your XP count, the XP counter.
Okay.
You get an advancement every 5 XP, just so you know. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. So Cynthia, you didn't solve a mystery yet. Did you behave like a woman half your age? You don't
Not
think
any
so?
not any more so than usual. Not any more
Well.
so than Cynthia always goes around behaving
Mm.
like. I would have to behave like a woman a quarter my age for that to be impactful.
Well, I mean, you were quite flirtatious with Buck.
That's true.
I would
Yeah,
take that.
That's true.
I would take
Okay.
that point. Yeah.
All right.
Did you secretly undermine the authority of a local official?
No, Mazi did.
Yeah,
I did.
but she didn't pick that
But
question.
I didn't pick that question.
No.
It's basically like the end of session questions are like a role-playing prompt, but I mean, they're also fun to role play. I mean, so just take your pick, like whatever you think you can manage for the session. It's really fun.
It's hard to know when you don't know where anything's going.
I know. It's weird, right? I mean, it's just available there.
Mhm.
So yeah, go ahead and take that point, Cynthia, and put in your XP. Okay, and then for Pearl, no mystery yet solved. Did you show someone that you've still got it?
Depends whether baking counts as got it. Because I've still got the baking chops, but I don't know if that's.
I don't see why not, because I
Yeah.
mean, you had a triumph. I mean,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, and you started out as someone who worked in a diner, and the
Yes.
whole
Right.
grifting thing was sort of in the middle, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of just kind of sprouted from there. So
You
yes.
showed yourself you still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Did you share a memory of a late family member?
I did not.
Okay.
Yes, you
so
did.
then-
I wouldn't.
When you talked about your favorite memory of the show, it's when you met Bob.
oh.
And
No,
didn't you
I
talk
wasn't-
about it?
No, I talked about the working out the
Mushroom.
mushroom.
Pastry.
Oh,
Pastry.
I was
I
thinking
met
of-
my- I met my husband at the cast wrap up.
That's right.
That's
right.
okay. Add him backwards.
Mazi.
Ah,
That's fine.
look, my hearing's going, my memory's going. I still know how to drive.
That's important. That's real
Yep.
important. Okay, so you guys got your XP. And then Pearl, go ahead and read off the prompt that you picked again, and then go ahead and narrate your crown.
Okay, the prompt I picked under Crown of the Queen is a flashback showing how you were an imperfect mother. And it was actually an argument that I got into with Jessica and with Bob not too long after Jessica started working with us. There's an old con, which Bob and I pulled many times, called the Badger Game. Woman gets intimate with the mark. Angry boyfriend, husband, whatever, bursts in, demands some kind of satisfaction, whether that's, pay me and I'll go away, or, whatever leverage you're looking for at the moment. So this was something that we'd done many times, but I was getting to an age where, let's just say that the range of marks I could pull this on had contracted somewhat. I still had the chops, but you know. And Bob and Jessica were absolutely bound and determined that she was ready to be the roper for this. And I was not ready to see that I needed to move on from that. It kind of hit me in the pride. And the proposal was for Bob to burst in as her sugar daddy. And I was not super keen on Bob pretending to have that kind of relationship with Jessica. So I arguably kind of did not do justice to her grifting skills in my discussion of this, and also got rather more heated. And yeah, it was not a good scene at the time or to look back on.
Do you think that's one of the things that she held against you?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. She thought I was trying to hold her back, and she correctly spotted the jealousy.
Mm. This may bring up some stuff. So I mean, like, again, if you guys feel like you need to back off or X card or anything like that, I mean, like, please do. And then just again, please update the lines and veils and just like, let me know to take a look at that every single time. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so we have gotten through part of GBBBO. I think I had enough B's. And that is the end of our session for this evening. So this is the time for debrief with stars and wishes. Stars are things that you enjoyed about today's session, each other, or anything else that you enjoyed about the gameplay. And then wishes are things that you would like to see for next time. Sometimes you can include stuff that you wish had happened like in today's session, but I think it's like more of a hopeful writer's room kind of moment for doing wishes, the wishes part of this. Okay. So yeah, whomever wants to start.
I'll start. So stars, definitely Mads. Thanks for starting it. And I really did like the like kind of the intro stuff, being a little different, with the competition and getting to like sort of judge each other's hot mess. I thought that was kind of fun. I definitely enjoyed that.
Oh, we have 2 more rounds still, so we'll have more opportunity.
I'm so excited. Pearl, your pie. Mwah. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see the next round and what you bring out. Cynthia, your tapestry. Adding that tapestry, it's just, I could totally picture like almost George Washington, like the Naruto arms sticking out back, like it's like, that's what I pictured when you said that with the flames on the boat, because you got to go fast. As far as wishes, I can't wait to see our characters more. Like just like to dive into like more the background and pull all that stuff in, and kind of see how our past can kind of like creep in and help or hinder. I'm hoping kind of we get a little mix of both, like somewhere it does come in handy, and then sometimes we're ooh, that's not good, that's not helping. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, as far as stars, I also kudos to everybody. This was such fun. Mads, I love the voices of the NPCs. I mean, having watched a lot of Bake Off, I'm picturing all the right faces, so to speak. And you do them very, very well and evocatively. And the non TV ones as well. I mean, Buck. Oh. But yeah, and everybody's described the entire picture of a cat smuggling a pie, a store-bought pie into the tent. It's so perfect, so beautiful. And you know, every bit of this has been marvelous. And the image of Mazi blasting her way around town with her music blaring and ticking off the sheriff. I'm just picturing him standing at the roadside just.
Yep.
And as far as wishes, I'm really looking forward to cozy moves with this lot, because I think it'll be interesting seeing us in our own spaces where we can sort of take the masks off a little bit. Because whenever Pearl's in public, she is very much playing to what she wants other people to see. And I think it'll be interesting seeing that contrast, because I suspect there may be some degree of that with the other two as well. Seeing how that may play out, that contrast.
Rachel, you need to stop laughing.
I was just picturing, she was saying people remove their mask a little bit, and my immediate thought is like, I'm actually Australian, and like I curse all the time. Like,
Ultimate grift.
I get home and like unsnap the bra. I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, finally take that damn thing off, you know?
Light
Just
a cigar.
Yep.
Definitely stars to Kathleen. It's not easy to come up with a way to fail as a mother to someone who you're teaching how to grift, who you're not even related to, on the fly, and I think you did a really good job. And I'm honestly, I'm here for the description of the baked goods as much as anything else. So, you know, high five for that. Wishes, I would say, I can't wait to see our characters interact more with each other. I feel like we're kind of feeling our characters out this time and seeing how they interact with their surroundings, and I love that. But I can't wait until we get to really bond as a troupe and see, you know, how our characters have fallen in love with each other as well during the process of mystery solving. I'm wearing my kerchief next time, guys. I should have named my cat Scooby.
Yeah, but then we would have had to have the talking cat, and then it would have been like,
Yeah,
oh,
no,
this is
we're
a
not
little bit weird and difficult. It's bad enough that I did a little twist on this to kind of like, you know, muddy the waters of like quite a bit. But I thank you. Stars to all of you. I mean, like all of the different moves really play into just this little snapshot that we're getting of each of the characters right now. And I cannot wait to give you more opportunities to show them off. And then again, with the stars of just the little nuances of each of your characters. I mean, like I'm horrible at specifics because again, my memory's shit, but I mean, like, you know, some of the descriptions, like, you know, for some of the things that you gave each other for the cozy little place, I mean, just wonderful. And then again, when you get to see these characters in play, you may change your mind. I mean, like these things may just like organically happen and it'll be wonderful. Absolutely. I mean, and even with the twist, which is kind of weird. And again, thank you guys very much for bearing with my weird ideas. So again, stars for the characterizations. stars for like, all the stuff that I threw at you, and then like, with the misses on the rolls, or just like, dealing with the mixed result. We got to see a lot of the characters today, and I look forward to seeing more. And then once we start building into the void mystery, which will come with the 12 plus rolls, hopefully we'll see. And it may turn out that depending on like how it goes, you may use up all your crowns before that even happens. We'll have to see if that goes. But also too, I am the keeper, so I mean I could muck around with it as much as I want. So yay. And then wishes. Yeah, to hopefully be able to figure out ways to incorporate your backstories and give you ample opportunity to use your moves, get advancements, and role play your heart out, to show us these characters and see how they not only deal with their pasts as cons and drifters, but grifters, excuse me, but also to be able to say, well, you're now kind of on the side of good, I guess, because you're trying to solve these mysteries. But I mean, like, how are you all dealing with that as well? I mean, like, were you ever part of like that very seedy side, that very dark side of your business? Or were you like on the fringe, and then now it's like, oh wait, these murder mysteries has nothing to do with us, but we have to do something about it, I mean, like, to see their take on it, to see their particular take on it, I'm going to be excited to see. So yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I mean, I think it's a great start, and I can't wait to see what your solution will end up being, like what remaining clues that you guys will get, as well as like, how you theorize
And
this
how
first
we
mystery.
roll.
Oh, and how we roll. Oh my gosh. Holy cow.
Because best theory in the world doesn't mean anything if you roll terrible.
That's true. That's true. But okay. So preview for next time. So when the Mavens get together, freewheeling discussion, which also includes me, to figure out how the clues get incorporated to solve this mystery. They will come up with a theory, incorporate as many clues as possible to roll straight or with a plus, hopefully, we'll see. And then if they roll well, then their solution is correct. They will reveal the murderer, and then there'll either be a complication or it'll just be solved straight and everybody will be happy. Not sure about Dalrymple, but I mean, like, the Mavens will be happy. If there is a miss on the roll, that means that the theory is wrong in its current state, and they will either suffer a reaction from me, and then they have to find at least one more clue to come up with a modified theory or a completely different one to roll again and then solve it. Or and I found out that this does happen in Brindlewood Bay as well as the Between, that everyone can decide to spend a crown. Doesn't matter which crown. I mean, like, it doesn't all have to be the same, but each Maven can decide to spend a crown towards bumping up the tier of the result of the roll. So as long as you are all willing to spend crowns to bump up the tier of that miss to a mixed result, then the theory is correct. It'll just have complications when you go to reveal.
I have one question about moves.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because of the twist, are we using the Gold Crown Mysteries move, or is there going to be a different, like, big move or whatever? Isn't that like we all do something? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yes. Okay. So the Gold Crown Mysteries move is a move available to the Mavens during the game, once per mystery. So you can only use it once per mystery. When any Maven says, "This reminds me of something that happened to Amanda Delacourt," work with the other players to describe how something that is happening in the situation reminds the Maven of an event from one of the Gold Crown Mysteries. So I'm thinking that even with the twist, even if you've known each other or known each other by reputation, I think you would still be brought together in Brindlewood Bay through the Murder Mavens Mystery Book Club.
Okay.
Admiring
Amanda
Robin
Delacourt.
Masterson's work
Oh.
with Amanda Delacourt. Yeah. So I
Okay.
mean, like you can still utilize that move. Maybe you put a little spin on it, you know, like in your particular way, but you can still describe what's happening in the situation. Because it would still be the same thing. I mean, you'd still have to meet all the criteria.
Yeah.
Name of the Gold Crown mystery in question, no repeats. Problem or situation. Amanda, the detective in the mystery stories, finds herself in that similar to what the Mavens are experiencing, and how Amanda in the book eventually overcame the problem or resolved the situation. So you'd still come up with those three things, and then that automatically applies, 12 plus to that relevant role that you need to do for that particular action, or state a fact about the current situation that the keeper must incorporate. So like a final truth or whatever about it. Oh yes, and generally speaking, this move can only be used once per mystery per group.
Oh, is it because on the keeper it says once per session?
Once per session. I mean, well, the keeper might not be completely updated
date?
to
Okay.
the new rules.
That's fair.
This is literally from version 3 of the handouts / most updated Kickstarter version. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I just didn't know if we were gonna tweak that one to fit the thing, or just keep it as is.
Yeah, I think it's still very usable. I mean, I think you've all still come together. You didn't know that you had this interest until you probably made your way to Brindlewood Bay, and
Saw
then
the
you're
flyer
all like,
and we're like, oh
yeah. It's like, well,
hey.
like on your like your many jaunts, like to the next town or to the next con. I mean, you all pick up an Amanda Delacourt mystery like to read.
I read it while I'm waiting.
And
Yeah.
then hotel rooms and
Yeah.
The driver doesn't get to do a lot until it's time to go.
Right. That's true. That's very true.
I just keep the engine running.
Yeah. I mean, hell, you probably are able to get through quite a few mysteries, like binge read Amanda Delacourt while you're waiting. Hurry the fuck up, people.
Audiobook. I spend a lot of time in the car.
Yep, true.
Yeah, it's on podcast now. Great. That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. So any other questions about any of the moves or anything like that? I mean, again, you can totally look at it in the next couple of weeks until we come up to our next game, our next session. So you have any questions or anything further that you need to go over or review? I mean, I will send out a copy of this recording to you all, so through the chat. And so I look forward to our next session. Oh my god.
Yay, thank you.
Yay. All right. So
off to a great start.
Yes.
I know. I love that the first roll was
a miss.
You took a crown on. I was like, yes.
I
mean,
decided
it's
I'm
an
just
entire
gonna go
mood.
for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's fine because I mean, again, it's like, you guys have that option, or you could have just taken the miss and seen what happens. Right. So
I could have, but I decided, nah, I'm just gonna
go for it.
go for it.
Why
Go
not?
for it. Exactly. So thank you guys very much. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful next couple of weeks. If I see you before then, fantastic, because I never remember what games I'm running or doing. So have a wonderful fortnight, whatever. And then I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.